There was a woman we'll call Emily. If you met her today, you'd never guess that just 3 years ago she questioned almost every thought she had.
She had absolutely no idea that the one thing she'd forgotten to do before handing me her laptop was log out of iMessage.
Not because she'd experienced a serious accident.
I wasn't snooping.
But because of one relationship.
I just needed to send myself a document
if you'd met her during the first few months of that relationship, you probably would have said she'd found the perfect partner.
If I'd closed the
he
messages
remembered
app
tiny
without looking,
details she'd
my
mentioned
life
weeks
would probably
before.
be completely
He surprised
different today.
her with thoughtful
At that
gifts.
point, we'd been together for
told
almost
her she
4
was unlike
years.
anyone he'd ever
We met in college.
Friends joked
she was
they were
funny,
soulmates.
Smart, and
Emily
the kind of
believed
person
it
who
too.
could walk into
But
any
if you
room
had
and instantly
fast-forwarded
become
just 18
everyone's
months,
favorite.
you would have found
honestly
someone
thought I was
completely
going to marry
different.
her.
Someone
we had
who
talked about buying a
apologized
house
before
someday.
speaking.
We had plans
Someone
for the
who
future.
second-guessed
Our
every
families
decision.
loved each other.
Someone who
and
no longer
everything
trusted
seemed
her own
perfect
memory.
from the outside.
And here's the
Sure,
frightening part.
we'd argue
She
once in a
couldn't
while,
even explain
but
how she'd
nothing
gotten
that
there.
ever made me
Because
question our
nothing
relationship.
dramatic happened
Lately,
overnight.
though,
Instead,
she'd been staying
it
late at
happened
work
through
almost
hundreds of
every
moments
night.
so small
She
that
always
almost
had a
anyone
reason,
would have ignored
a
them.
big project,
Today we're
a
going to
difficult
unpack
client,
those moments.
an important deadline.
Because if you
I
recognize
believed
these
every
patterns
word
early,
she said.
you may
Why
avoid
wouldn't
years
I?
of emotional confusion.
Trust isn't something you
and
think
stay
about
until the
until
end.
it's gone.
Because the
Then there
final
was
pattern
Jake.
is the one
Jake
many
wasn't
survivors
just a
say
friend.
finally made
He was
them
my
realize
best
something
friend.
was deeply
We'd
wrong.
known each other since
Chapter
we were
1.
kids.
The Fairy
He'd
Tale.
been there through
Emily
every
met
major
him at a
moment of my
friend's
life.
birthday party.
Birthdays,
Within 20
graduation,
minutes, it felt like
breakups,
they'd known each other
family
for years.
emergencies.
He
He
laughed
was
at every
practically
joke,
my brother.
asked
The three of
thoughtful
us spent a
questions,
lot of time together.
made direct
We
eye
watched
contact.
movies, went on
When
road
she
trips,
talked,
had barbecues,
she felt like she was
and
the only
celebrated
person
holidays.
in the room.
Looking
The
back
next
now,
morning,
I
there
can
was
remember
already a
little
message.
moments that seemed
Can't
strange.
stop thinking
An
about
inside
you.
joke I didn't
By
understand.
the end of the week,
A look between them that
flowers,
lasted a little
long
too
phone
long.
calls,
A smile that
plans
felt
for the
different.
future.
At the
It
time,
felt exciting,
none of it meant anything.
intense,
When you trust
almost
people completely,
unbelievable.
your brain
People
doesn't
often
look for
assume
reasons to doubt
unhealthy
them. That
relationships begin
afternoon,
with
my
obvious
laptop
warning
completely
signs.
stopped working.
Many don't.
I asked if I could
Sometimes
borrow
they
hers
begin
for an
with
hour.
exactly what
She
everyone hopes
smiled
to
without
find.
hesitation.
Strong chemistry,
Of course.
deep
She gave me a
conversations,
kiss, grabbed her keys,
feeling chosen.
and left for what she said
Intensity
was
isn't
another late shift at
automatically
work.
unhealthy.
I sat
But
down
when
at the kitchen
intense
table
affection quickly
and
turns
opened the
into pressure
laptop.
or control,
Everything was
it's
normal.
worth paying attention.
I logged into my
Chapter
email,
2.
downloaded
first
the
cracks.
file I needed.
About
Then
4
a
months
notification
later,
appeared.
something small
One
happened.
message.
Emily
A few
remembered
seconds
agreeing
later,
to dinner on
another.
Friday.
Then another.
Her partner
I wasn't
insisted
trying to
it had
read them,
always been Saturday.
but when your best friend's
She
name
laughed.
appears 3
I'm
times
pretty
in a row,
sure it was Friday.
you notice. The
His
preview
smile
alone made my
disappeared.
stomach drop.
No,
I can't
just
stop thinking
forgot.
about last night.
She
For a
checked her
second,
calendar.
I convinced
It said
myself there
Friday.
had to be another
He shrugged.
explanation.
Your
Maybe it was
calendar must
another
be
Jake.
wrong.
Maybe the
It
message was
seemed
old.
insignificant.
Maybe someone else had
People
used her
remember
computer.
things differently
Anything.
all the time.
Anything
She let
except
it
what I
go.
was starting to believe.
Then it happened
I
again.
clicked on the conversation.
And again. Different
My heart
conversations.
immediately started
Different
racing.
promises.
There were hundreds of
Different
messages.
stories.
Photos.
Every disagreement
heart
ended the same
emojis,
way.
Plans
She
for
somehow
weekends
became
together.
the confused one.
Conversations
Eventually,
about meeting
she
at
stopped
hotels.
arguing.
Conversations
Not because she
about
believed
lying
she
to
was
me.
wrong.
They joked
Because
about how
arguing
easy
never
it was to
changed
fool
the
me.
outcome.
Every message
Hook number
felt like
1,
someone
around
twisting a
2
knife
minutes.
a little deeper.
Here's where
Then
Emily
I
made the
found
same
message
mistake
that
countless
completely
people
shattered
make.
me.
She
I can't
assumed
wait to
these
see you
incidents
tonight.
were random.
Tonight.
They
The
weren't.
same night as
Because
our
the
anniversary
next
dinner.
pattern looked
The dinner
almost
she'd canceled
identical to
because
love.
she
But
supposedly
over
had to work
time,
late.
it
I
quietly
couldn't
reshaped
move.
her entire
I
life.
just stared at the screen.
Chapter 3.
People
Losing
always
her
ask
world.
what betrayal
He
feels
never
like.
said.
It isn't
You
anger
can't
at
see
first.
your friends.
It's confusion.
Instead,
Your
he'd
brain
sigh.
refuses to
I guess
accept
I'll
what your
just
eyes
spend
are
another
seeing.
weekend alone.
You start inventing
Or,
impossible
it's weird your
explanations because
friends
accepting the
always come
truth
before
is
me.
simply too painful.
Emily started
I
cancelling
reread
plans.
the messages over
Not
and
because
over
she
again.
had to.
The dates
Because she
went back
wanted
months,
to avoid
not
disappointing him.
days,
Months
not weeks,
passed.
months.
Friends stopped
This
inviting
wasn't
her.
one mistake.
Family
This
called
wasn't a
less
bad
often.
decision.
Without
This was a second
realizing
relationship that had
her
been
support
happening right in
system
front of
slowly
me
disappeared.
while I trusted them
One
both
small
completely.
decision at a time.
Eventually, there
when
were no
relationships
excuses left.
become someone's
She
entire
was cheating
world,
on me
leaving
with
becomes
my
much
best friend.
harder.
The
Not
two
because
people I
they've
trusted
forgotten
most
who they
had been
are,
lying to me for
because
months.
they've gradually
I
lost
took
contact
screenshots
with
of
everyone
everything.
who reminds them.
Every message,
Chapter 4.
every photo,
The arguments.
every conversation.
One evening, Emily
I emailed the
confronted him.
screenshots to
You
myself
embarrassed
just
me in
in
front
case
of
they
everyone.
disappeared. Then I
He looked
closed the
shocked.
laptop.
I
For almost
embarrassed
an
you.
hour, I just sat
I
there
can't
in
believe
complete
you'd accuse me after
I
everything
thought
I
about
do for
confronting
you.
her. I
Within
thought about
minutes,
calling Jake.
she found
I thought
herself
about pretending
apologizing,
I'd never seen
not
any
for
of it.
what he'd done,
Then I
for
remembered
bringing
something
it
her
up.
mother had told me
Later
months
she lay
earlier.
awake trying
If
to
my
figure
daughter
out what had
ever hurts
happened.
you,
The conversation had started with her feelings.
At the time, I laughed.
Yet somehow,
I never imagined those words would actually matter.
That became the pattern.
I opened my phone.
Every disagreement followed the same script.
Her parents,
the original
her
issue
sister,
disappeared.
Her grandparents,
her reaction became the new problem.
Uncles,
healthy relationships don't avoid
my finger
conflict,
hovered over the send
but
button.
they don't constantly rewrite who is responsible either. Chapter 5.
I pressed send.
The good days.
The screenshots were
then
delivered.
something confusing
For 2 minutes.
He
Nothing
changed.
happened.
For
Complete
a while.
silence.
Weekend
then
trips.
Her mom started
flowers.
typing. I
Kind
expected
words.
denial.
Affection.
I expected confusion.
She thought, there
I
he
expected
is.
her to defend her daughter.
The person I fell
Instead,
in love with.
The first message
the relationship
simply said,
felt wonderful
I
again.
knew it.
Until
a few
it didn't.
seconds later,
the criticism
I'm
returned.
so sorry.
Then affection.
Another message appeared.
Then criticism
Welcome
again.
to the family.
The unpredictability made every good day feel incredibly valuable.
Apparently,
instead of asking whether the relationship was healthy,
she had confronted
Emily
her daughter
started chasing the next
She'd
good
been
moment.
lied to just like
Hope
I had.
became stronger
Within minutes,
than reality.
My phone exploded.
Hook number 2,
calls from my
around
girlfriend.
7 minutes.
Calls
but
from
none
Jake.
of those moments
Text
were the turning
messages.
point.
Voicemails.
That came from a single sentence spoken during an ordinary Tuesday
ignored
evening.
every single one.
A sentence so
there was
simple.
nothing left to say.
She almost ignored
Sometimes
it.
people think
Yet
closure
years
comes
later
from
she
one
would describe
final
it as the moment everything
Sometimes
finally
it
made
doesn't.
sense.
Sometimes
Chapter
closure
6,
comes
the
from
sentence.
finally seeing the
Emily
truth.
had forgotten
No
to
more
buy milk.
excuses.
It was
no
an
more
honest
lies.
mistake.
No
Her
more
partner
pretending.
exploded.
That day,
You ruin
I
everything.
lost my girlfriend.
She
I
froze.
lost my best friend.
Everything.
But I also
thought
stopped
about
wasting
it.
my future
She
on
paid
people
most
who
of the
never
bills.
deserved my trust
She
in the
cooked.
first place.
She cleaned.
Looking back now,
She
that
supported him
discovery
through
hurt
difficult
more than
times.
anything I'd
How could
ever
forgetting
experienced.
milk erase
But
all
it
of
also
that?
saved me
Then
from spending
something
years
clicked.
with people who
It
never
wasn't
truly
about milk.
respected me.
It wasn't
and
about
as painful
dishes
as that day
or
was,
text messages
it ended up being the
or
beginning
arriving
of a much
5
better
minutes
life.
late. Every small mistake became evidence that she wasn't good enough. And every success was quickly forgotten. She finally noticed a pattern she'd missed for years. No matter what she did, she could never quite earn lasting approval. The goalposts
She
always
didn't know.
moved. Chapter
She had
7.
absolutely
What healthy
no
love
idea
looks like.
that the one
Healthy
thing
love
she'd
feels
forgotten
different.
to do before
Not
handing me her
perfect,
laptop
just
was
consistent.
log out of iMessage.
You don't feel anxious every
I
time your
wasn't
phone
snooping.
vibrates.
At
You don't
least,
rehearse
not
conversations
at
in your
first.
head before speaking.
I just needed
You
to
don't
send
wonder
myself
whether
a
expressing
document
disappointment will
because
start another
my own
emotional
computer
storm.
had died
Healthy
the night
partners
before.
make mistakes.
If I'd
Healthy
waited another
partners
5
disagree.
seconds,
Healthy partners
if I'd
apologize.
closed the messages
Respect
app
doesn't
without
disappear
looking,
because conflict appears.
my life would
Chapter
probably
8.
be completely
What if this
different
feels
today.
familiar? If
At
parts
that
of Emily's
point,
story remind you
we'd
of your
been
own
together
life,
for almost
resist the urge
4
to jump to
years.
labels.
We
Many
met
different
in
relationship
college.
dynamics can involve
She was
manipulation,
funny,
poor
smart,
communication,
and the
or
kind of
emotional
person
control.
who could walk
Only
into
a qualified
any room
mental health
and
professional
instantly
can
become
diagnose a personality
everyone's
disorder.
favorite.
The more useful
I
question is
honestly
this.
thought I
How
was
does
going
this
to marry
relationship
her.
consistently
We
leave
had
you
talked
feeling?
about buying
Do
a
you feel
house
respected,
someday.
safe,
We had plans for the
heard,
future.
or do you feel smaller
Our
than you used
families
to be?
loved each
If you
other,
find yourself
and
constantly
everything
questioning your own
seemed
reality,
perfect from the
withdrawing from loved
outside.
ones, or believing nothing you
Sure,
do is ever enough,
we'd argue
those are
once in a
important
while,
patterns to take
but
seriously.
nothing
Talk
that
to someone
ever
you
made
trust.
me question our
Reconnect with
relationship.
people who care about you.
Lately,
Chapter
though,
8. What
she'd
if this
been
feels
staying
familiar?
late at work
If parts of
almost
Emily's story
every night.
remind you of your own life,
She always
resist
had
the
a
urge
reason,
to jump to labels.
a big
Many
project,
different relationship
a
dynamics
difficult
can involve
client,
manipulation,
an
poor
important
communication,
deadline.
or
I
emotional control.
believed every
Only a
word she
qualified
said.
mental health
Why
professional can
wouldn't
diagnose
I?
a personality disorder.
Trust isn't
The more
something
useful
you think
question is
about
this.
until it's gone.
How does this
Then
relationship
there was
consistently
Jake.
leave you feeling?
Jake
Do
wasn't
you
just
feel
a
respected,
friend. He was
safe,
my best
heard,
friend.
or do you feel
We've known
smaller
each
than you
other
used to
since
be?
we were kids.
If you find yourself constantly
He'd been there
questioning your own
through
reality,
every major
withdrawing from loved
moment of
ones,
my life.
or believing nothing you do is ever
Birthdays,
enough, those are important
graduation,
patterns to take seriously.
breakups,
Talk to someone you
family
trust.
emergencies.
The scary part.
He was
It
practically
didn't happen
my brother.
overnight. It
The three
happened
of
one
us spent
conversation
a
at a
lot of
time,
time together.
one apology at a
We
time,
watched movies,
one broken
went
promise
on
at a
road
time.
trips,
Millions
had
of people have
barbecues,
wondered whether
and
they're in a
celebrated
relationship with someone who
holidays.
shows narcissistic
Looking back
traits.
now,
But
I
here's
can
what's
remember
even more
little moments
dangerous.
that seemed
Many
strange.
people don't recognize the
An
warning signs
inside
until
joke
months,
I didn't
or even
understand.
years, later.
A look between
Today we're going to
them
break
that
down the
lasted
subtle
a little
patterns
too
that can turn a
long.
relationship
A
emotionally
smile that
exhausting,
felt different.
explain what
At
healthy
the
relationships
time,
look like by
none of it
comparison,
meant
and reveal the
anything.
red flags
When
many
you
people
trust
overlook
people
until it's too
completely,
late. Stay until the end,
doesn't look
because
for
the final
reasons to
sign
doubt
is the
them.
one psychologists
That
say often
afternoon,
causes
my
the deepest
laptop
emotional damage.
completely stopped
Reconnect
working.
with people who care
I
about you.
asked if I could
If you
borrow
believe you're
hers for an
experiencing
hour.
emotional or physical
She
abuse,
smiled
consider
without
seeking help from a
hesitation.
qualified counselor
Of
or local
course.
support service that can help
She
you plan
gave me a
safely.
kiss, grabbed her
Ending.
keys,
Emily eventually
and
rebuilt
left
her
for what
life.
she said
Not
was
all at
another
once.
late shift at
Not
work.
dramatically.
I
One
sat down at the
conversation,
kitchen table
one boundary,
and
one
opened
decision
the
at a
laptop.
time. Today she says
Everything
the
was
hardest
normal.
part wasn't leaving.
I logged
The
into
hardest
my
part was
email,
realizing she'd slowly
downloaded the
disappeared
file
inside
I
the
needed.
relationship before
Then
she ever
a
recognized what was
notification
happening.
appeared.
That's why
One
stories like
message.
hers matter.
A few
Because unhealthy
seconds
relationships
later,
rarely announce
another.
themselves.
Then
They
another.
unfold quietly,
I wasn't trying to
through
read
ordinary
them,
conversations,
but when your best
tiny
friend's name
compromises,
appears 3
small
times in
moments
a
that
row,
don't seem important,
you notice.
until you connect them
The
all together.
preview alone
If this
made
story
my
gave you a
stomach
new
drop.
perspective,
I
consider
can't
sharing
stop
it with
thinking
someone who
about
might need to
last
hear
night.
it. And
For
if
a
you enjoy
second,
thoughtful
I
stories about
convinced
psychology,
myself there had
relationships,
to be
and human
another
behavior,
explanation.
subscribe for more.
Maybe it was
Sometimes
another
recognizing
Jake.
a pattern is
Maybe
the
the
first step
message
toward
was
changing the
old.
ending.